We have worked within the conference to create this for as little cost as possible to local churches. This is your apportionment dollars at work. This is something where we have a website, wisconsinumc.org has, if you open the screen, there's a Think Greater icon. If you click on that icon, it goes to a page that has both regular Word files and PDFs of every piece of information that you have in the kit, and there's going to be more added to it each week. The reason we have both the PDFs, if you want to download something and use it just as is, that's fine. But we also have it in the regular document files because this is the stewardship campaign of the Wisconsin Annual Conference. Nothing that we are posting for reproduction will have a copyright on it. That means that you can take anything from the site and customize it to fit your needs. You can put your logo, your letterhead, you can put whatever you want on any of these pieces. And even if you want to shift some content, if you want to change a biblical reference, if you want to modify a bulletin insert, we are making this as close to totally customizable as we can. It's not proprietary. No one has to get permissions or rights to do any of this. When we talk about this being a conference stewardship campaign, who is the Wisconsin Annual Conference? You are. So this is our campaign that we can use in any variety of ways. As I said, the website, we will be feeding some more information. We realized when we got here that the kits are not as complete as they should be, so there will be some information going up almost immediately when I get home. But I'd like everybody to find the quick reference guide that is in your packet. This is a very simple list of what's in the kit, a very simple schedule to follow with some other information. And I just want to walk you through what each of the pieces are and just kind of identify them so you know what they are, how they can be used, and then we'll have a little bit more discussion on some ideas for using some of the things and answering some questions that came up at the last two sessions about Think Greater that you might have as well. You should find a single sheet of themes and scriptures. This is the general overview that the program is following. We have designed this to be a 6-week conference-wide campaign that will launch September 30th, will culminate with Celebration Sundays on November 4th, and then we will be gathering at the Marriott in Madison with our youth at their senior high convo on Saturday the 10th for a celebration event. Basically, it's just a party where there'll be music, there'll be opportunities to share some of our experiences from the campaigns in our local churches, and it's a time just to come together where we don't have to decide anything, we don't have to vote on anything, we don't have to do anything other than just enjoy the fact that we're the Wisconsin Conference together. So we'll have a Think Greater celebration on the 10th. People have asked, do we have to do it in that time frame? Absolutely not. This is a 6-week program that you can use whenever you want to. We had to be mindful of all of the churches that launch in the fall and have rally days, and had to make sure we were done before hunting season. That's why it's in there. So, people have asked, why those dates, why that time? We were just trying to squeeze it in between all the really high holy days here in Wisconsin. The first week is an orientational launch, just kind of an introduction to the whole campaign. Week 2, the focus is on living enthusiastically. What does it mean to us as Christian disciples to receive this gift of life from God, where Jesus says, I came to give life, to give it abundantly? What does abundant living really look like? And how can we encourage and support one another to live enthusiastically our faith in Jesus Christ? Week 3 is the give wholeheartedly. What are the many ways we give? Money is going to be one of those focus areas, but what does it mean to live a true life of generosity? What is a generous spirit? How does what we do, what we give, actually impact the world? The 4th week is to love unconditionally. What does unconditional love mean? What does it look like? How do we extend that into our community, into our world? The 5th is beyond all expectation. That's where we really kick up the energy, where we talk about doing the greater works that Jesus calls us to do, and to begin to talk visionary language about the possibility. If we all truly commit to thinking greater, to living greater, to being greater, what could we do as a community of faith? And then week 6 is the celebration Sunday. Some churches will collect commitments on that day. Some will have other celebrations. One of the things that is not in the packet that will be posted on the site, we have a variety of commitment options. We have a standard financial commitment card that people can do, an estimate of giving, a pledge, whatever you choose to call it. We have one that really is more of a time, talent, and treasure, a larger commitment. We have one that's kind of a congregational covenant that's designed around the membership vows of upholding the church by prayers, presence, gifts, service, and witness. And then we have a congregational covenant process so you'll have options to look at how you might want to use these different things on your celebration Sunday. So that's the general flow. We also have worship resources. There should be a sheet that looks like this. For each of the 6 weeks, there are the primary scriptures. These scriptures come, by the time I had come to this annual conference, the Live, Give, Love Beyond All Expectation theme and vision had already been adopted, and there was this nice little brochure that each of the 4 sections had a theme verse. We kept those theme verses and built the campaign around the theme verses. So people who have been aware of the conference campaign over the last 4 years will know that those things tie in. Then we offer secondary scriptures, support scriptures that kind of flesh out the themes. A number of suggested hymns for each, and a unison prayer for the offering. Are you not finding this one?
It's on the left-hand side of the packet.
Okay.
Toward the front.
There it is. Okay, thank you, Warren. What we will be providing in the next few weeks, going up on the website, are going to be some other suggestions for things that can be used in worship, invocations, some responsive readings, Psalter that will go with each of these. So more resources will be added to the website throughout the time leading up to the campaign. We're going to also be having a variety of bulletin inserts. There's an example of the bulletin insert, the one that says, "What can you buy for $1.79?" This ties in to, we've calculated in the Wisconsin Annual Conference, based on our membership of our churches in this conference, what would it cost us to pay our apportionments in full? And what we found is that if every person in the United Methodist Church gave $1.79 a week, that's what it would take to pay our apportionments in full. So for less than $2 a week, we could reach that goal. So that's one of the inserts. We'll have a variety of other inserts that will be developed and posted that can be used. We realize different people will want to focus on different things, so we'll have a variety of those available. There is a 8.5 by 11 booklet, Sunday school class or small group study. Our spiritual formation group and our lifelong learning for adults resource team got together and they created this study. It's in 4 sections, so it would launch the second week of the campaign. You'd have your lunch Sunday and then you'd start this class or small group with the second week. This is designed, there are suggested times. If you keep it to the low end of the time that's listed, you should be able to fit it into a Sunday school hour, which we all know in most of our churches is not quite an hour because people come in late, people leave for choir, people, there are all these good reasons. So you can do like a 50-minute Sunday school hour, or you can expand it a bit with some of the helps to maybe a 2-hour study. This can be used in a variety of places. I'll pause now because this is one of the frequently asked questions. I keep getting questions saying, we looked through the materials and we really think they're great and we're not going to do it. But we want to know, can we use this piece or something else in our church? Yes, the answer, any question that starts can we, the answer is probably yes. Can we use these materials in different ways? Yes. Can we do our campaign at a different time of the year? Yes. Can we do just the 4 weeks and trim off the lunch and the celebration? Sure. Do whatever you want. What we have tried to do is create a package that will hold together and will offer you what you need. But if there's something you say, this is not the campaign we're going to use, but this would be great with our UMW group, or this would be great with our youth group, that would be fine. Use it as you want to. There is a youth discussion guide for 4 weeks. Somebody came up to me the other day and said, I looked through this. Is it okay if we use this with our adults? Yes. Don't even worry about it. If you have a possibility, if you see an option, go for it. This is built around the 4 theme weeks and has both a biblical discussion, then each week has a music video that is tied to the theme with some discussion, but then also action steps. What are we going to do about this? Once we have talked about it, how can we put our faith into action? So that's the youth guide. Barb Cook put together for us a stewardship devotional based on the sermons of John Wesley. We're probably going to reproduce this because a number of people, a number of churches have said, we're not going to do the campaign, but we really like this devotional. We'd really like to be able to hand this out. And we're interested in buying copies in quantity. So we may be trying to get some quantities of some of these printed that would be available at hopefully nominal cost. So the devotional guide, this is something that people have said they would like to use in a variety of different situations. We have some evangelism messages. And what we're probably going to do with these 4 messages is design these as bulletin inserts as well. But folks have said they'd like to have a discussion with this. They'd like to work with a small group, people who are interested in evangelism. This would be another small group study resource. As part of the small group and Sunday school, there's reference to a process called writing a money autobiography. This is a tool that can be used by individuals. It can be used by small groups. It can be done as kind of a journaling exercise over the course of a month. It has various uses, but what it really does is it helps the individual think about their relationship to money and material possessions. Looking back, where did we learn about money? Where did we learn about giving, learn about saving? What are some of the attitudes that we have? As an adult, are we fundamentally a saver or a spender? Are we the type of person that only spends what they have or spends against the future, thinking they'll pay it off sometime? All of the things about our relationships with money, our values, how we manage questions, and how we live our life is developed in the money autobiography. Some churches, I was talking to someone who said they're going to be doing a retreat, their church retreat, during the 6 weeks of the campaign. And what they're going to do is they're going to have one group write their money autobiographies and then come together and share and talk about what the issues are. So they're using it as a retreat. We'll get to the letters in just a moment. We've also included some pieces that We don't know who's going to use them or how they're going to use them, but I do know that a couple of churches have said when they do campaigns, they like to make buttons. So we have 2-inch button and 3-inch button logos. All of the logos, all of this is available online for download and customization however you want to. We have the Think Greater posters and banners where you can pull one logo off and put your church logo on if you want to. You can, again, you can customize it the way you might want to use it. All of these, I think, are of a resolution that you can expand them pretty large before they start to get fuzzy. So you can work with those. I want to just give a plug at this point. Michelle Vernig, the communications director for the Wisconsin Annual Conference, has been the person working with us to design and format all of these. And so she's done an amazing task. A lot of different people have contributed to these resources and to putting this all together, and they all kind of come crashing into Michelle's inbox at the same time. So we're very, very thankful to her. We also have a children's study, a children's discussion kind of Sunday school, and that was supposed to be in, but the person who was doing it was unable to meet the deadline. But it is built around Dr. Seuss. We've got the messages of living enthusiastically, loving unconditionally, giving wholeheartedly. The loving unconditionally, I know, is the Sneetches and the Butter Battle book. Love unconditionally, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I think the live enthusiastically is the oh, the places you can go. And then beyond all expectation, oh, the thinks you can think. So we got it covered. These will be referenced. You will have to obtain a copy of these in your church. We couldn't get copyright, freedom. Don't customize these, please. So we do have the children's pieces. We have been working with various congregations. I know one of the congregations, I can't remember which one it is, they want to do coffee mugs. They're going to do some Think Greater coffee mugs. The two things we ask on that is they ask for a photo-ready logo that they could get done on the coffee mugs. And we ask if, when they're talking about ordering these, could we make this available to a wider... We can keep costs down if we order in quantity. So if people let us know they think the coffee mugs would be a cool idea or they'd like to get those for their stewardship team or whatever, we'll try to work to help you do that. People have asked, are there things we can do to promote kind of giveaways, handouts? Our church likes to do something to give people to take home. One church is talking about doing refrigerator magnets. Another church is talking about doing pens. If we know that that there's an idea that people really like, we'll try to work with you and order a big enough quantity so that we keep costs to a minimum. Are you flagging me or waving a fly? Okay.
Sorry.
I can be every bit as annoying as a fly, so I never know exactly, where people are coming from. There are, in the packet, there is a set of 5 letters and a cover page of letter instructions. Whether you are going to do this by snail mail, email, however you're going to do it, we do think the communication aspects are important, especially if you're going to use this as a financial commitment campaign. The letters, in the quick reference guide, there's a schedule that talks about 2 weeks before the campaign. The first letter or email goes out. 1 week prior to the launch is an invitation letter, and there are 2 forms there. There's one that's for members, and there's one for active participants who are not members. The one is built around membership vows. The second one is kind of built around the opportunity to connect and participate in the life of the church. These are templates. You're supposed to customize these. If you read through there and you like what you see, go ahead and use it. If you read it and say, oh man, that's not going to fly in our congregation, figure out what will fly and substitute it. But the regular communication is really an important part. We have a week-by-week suggestion of what might be used when from the resources here. The fifth letter is a thank you. And one of the things that's kind of unique to this is it's a thank you to everybody. We want people to know that their participation in our community of faith is appreciated. You may want to customize that so that you're offering different kinds of thanks to different people, people who made a commitment, people who said they were going to stay active, people who you haven't seen for years but still they're on the rolls. You know, you may want to modify some of the message, but we can't emphasize enough, the most important of these 5 letters is the thank you letter. This is about celebration. This is about possibility. This is about invitation into the vision. And so we want to continue to lift that up and make sure that people are aware of that. Questions you have at this point? Yes, Paul.
These letters, you mentioned all these resources are available on the website. Can these letters be downloaded digitally so we don't have to retype the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Yeah, what you see here is what you get there.
In both Word and PDF, so Word, you can just
Yeah, Word you can.
The letters we didn't do in a PDF because it says Dear Blank and has things that you have to change.
You don't have Mr. Blank in your...
Yeah, we have a couple blanks in our church, but not everybody qualifies. Yeah, Gene.
If you're looking for some thank you letters where you actually also write in what people pledged, we can provide some of those.
Okay, that leads me to the next. You will note when you go on to the Think Greater website that there's a list of all the campaign materials. And those are all the things that are non-proprietary that we can modify. Below that, there's going to be a supplemental resources page. We're going to put up what George Kafer, this came from the Lewis Center on Church Leadership. This is copyrighted information. We've got narrative budgets and samples of narrative budgets and mission budgets. We've got samples of letters. We've got samples of things that are available on the Foundation website. There will be quick links to those resources. So we're going to keep putting up both supplemental resources that could help you in the campaign, as well as continue to feed the campaign resources, which are the ones you can take and modify and do anything you want with.
This is basically a process question. You talked about some of the churches that might be interested in coffee mugs and things like that. I'm assuming several of those will be doing that soon if they're going to try to work on this timeline. Are you guys going to, is there a clearinghouse, like through the conference office, where we can find out about these in case we want to get on board?
I'm going to be meeting with Michelle Vernig, who has the price on all these things that we can talk about, and we're going to meet on Monday. And then if there's a possibility of getting quantities on these, we're going to get an email blast out to all the churches to let them know what would be available. And you're right, for churches that are going to launch this the end of September, we've got like a 2-week window to get these things ordered and then figure out how to get them to the people who want them. So we're going to have a strategy powwow on Monday, and hopefully by maybe Wednesday, there would be a communication out to the conference. Other ideas?
Well, just a thought, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, we're talking cultural change, from, oh, well, we got to give because of a sense of obligation, and then changing that to a possibility, and to somehow, cultural change is a real long term. It's not going to happen in one fall outing.
Right.
And so, the snippets of light that you can shine on that possibility and get people moving in that direction. That's kind of what I'm sitting here gleaning, saying, okay, I could show that to people and they probably would respond. But to move from survival mode to actually envisioning a ministerial kind of existence is where I'm at.
And I hope that we can communicate that that's where we're at too. We really designed this to kind of lay a foundation to where we see ourselves going in the next 4 years in providing resources and to trying to push that forward. It's been interesting. There have been 3 things that have come out of this that I think speak volumes. Steve Scott was here on Thursday, and he voiced what I have heard now from 5 different sources, and that is, we heard about this over a year ago, and we are amazed that it actually happened. 6 people. That people didn't have confidence that just because we said we were going to do this, we were actually going to do this. So I think that this is a first step, a good faith effort to say we're really beginning to focus on the local church, and this is some evidence that we're serious about doing it.
People are very attuned or sophisticated in sniffing out the flavor of the month kind of approach to problem solving, or and so basing it something on rather than we have a shortfall we have to take care of, but converting that conversation into an opportunity, stewardship, trust.
Yeah. Yeah. A second thing that we've heard that I just is kind of a backhanded compliment is people have come in and said, "Wow, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be." So we take that as a compliment, and not sure exactly what people expected it to be. But the other thing that I think I hear consistently is people are kind of feeling hopeful that this is a nice start, but what's going to come next? What support are we going to have after the fact? And so I think that's part of what the Discipleship Leadership Council is really going to be talking about. And one of the things that's exciting for me is when I came here, I would say that my experience in Wisconsin is planning was done kind of on a year-by-year basis. The planning has really shifted to the next 4 years and thinking long-term and thinking whole conference and thinking big picture. And so I think there are some glimpses of hope. Now we just have to put our money where our mouth is and deliver on it. Yeah, Diane?
One of the things that we brainstormed is what would it feel like to use these small group resources in worship so that we change up worship for these
that's cool.
to be a different experience. And then when the money autobiography, we talk about doing a 12-month rather than,
Yep.
is that I'm not sure, just off the top of our heads, how many people would be intrigued by writing a money biography, but change that to how much is enough for my family, how much is enough to retire. These are questions that people are asking already.
Yep.
And so just a little tweaking on the context for that.
And another
Into relationship for
another way that money autobiography I know has been used in the past is they've done it over a year long where they just pull out 1 or 2 questions as focus questions for the month and really begin to grapple with some of those. What's our history? What are our values? What are our choices? So great, fantastic. Yes, ma'am.
This is a specific question, and I don't know if it's been addressed or not, but I think we have found that people are reluctant to sign a commitment card of any kind. And is that addressed in any way?
As I say, we're going to be offering 4 different options. And 5th option is not to use commitment cards. That really has become much more of a generational issue. And even at that, I don't think there's a simple way to address that. One of the issues, one of the things that we've heard, and I think this is a good way to address that, is that people are reluctant to sign a commitment card of any kind. And as I say, we're going to be offering 4 different options. And 5th option is not to use commitment cards. That really has become much more of a generational issue. And even at that, I worked, when I was working in Nashville, working with younger spiritual seekers, and people coming to the church. I think a grand shift that most church people don't know how to deal with is a majority of 30-something and younger that come into a church will just ask the question, how much does it cost to go here? And people who've been in the church for a long time just freak out at that question. It's, well, it doesn't cost anything to... And what we're realizing is we live in a different world with a different set of standards and different expectations of people who are coming in. And there are churches. There's a United Methodist Church down in Destin, Florida, which basically sets a minimum offering so that when people come into the church, it is an expectation that everyone who comes in will give a minimum of $50 a week. Then they'll negotiate that. If there's somebody who can't give, but what they have found is this is one of the fastest growing youth church, young adult churches. About the oldest person in this church is 32. And they've grown to well over 450 members in about 2 years. And they have yet to have anyone come and say to them, that's unreasonable, that's unrealistic, we didn't expect that. So there's got to be options given for how people can make their commitment. And we're going to give from the straight financial down to kind of a shared congregational covenant, and understand that there are going to be people who, doesn't matter what your expectation is, they won't fill out a card. They won't sign a paper.
Most people don't.
So yeah, it's kind of a sign of the times. And yet, how many people will go onto a website and click the buttons and enter their credit card information to pay a fee?
That's the problem. And another aspect of that, though, are people who say, I don't know for sure if I can do this.
Yep,
And I don't want to say that I will and not live up to what I've said.
yep,
I've heard that more than how much should I give.
yep. Actually, you speak a little to that, don't you? Yeah. Let's go ahead and break.